Just look at me. I'm trembling. I'm trembling. I'm trembling. I'm trembling. I just can't hold myself because what a game. Just tell me if you were not entertained, because I was entertained. And this, as I said in the previous game, we have a strong team. Sometimes the injuries usually affect us. When we want to win, it doesn't matter which opposition usually comes. Is it PSG? Is it Barcelona? Is it Bayern Munich? Is it now Liverpool? We'll always crush them. But I always knew, and I've known this for a very long time. Even in my previous video, I said that Liverpool winning in Stamford is something that we just don't expect, whether we are so good or we are so bad. And even with the lineup as it was announced, and I was checking at it and I was looking like, hey, we might be thin because at the bench you have somebody like a Menalo, you have somebody like I was looking at the bench and then looking at and I thought like this is a very very difficult time, and especially now that we are going into the international break, and we know after international break we are usually messed. But I knew the worst we can get out of this was a draw, and it happened. Now, the first thing is the first two injuries. Now, I'll not talk about the goals. I'm just talking about all the issues that happen in the game that are bad. The two injuries. And now we are finishing the game with Reece James and Hato as our defensive unit. And everywhere from the 70th minute, I'm looking at the defense and I think, how will we survive? Because these are not trained CBs. Oh, no, Hato is a trained CB, but it's mostly a LCB. It's not like a CB. And James is not a CB. And it was one thing which I thought it is working in our disadvantage, that there's just some things that will not work, like the positioning, the height, and everything. But after seeing him play for the like 5 to 10 minutes, and I started settling down because I thought he just had control of his pace, and that's Reece James. Like, is probably among the top five best players in the world. Not caring about the position in RB is the best. Now the thing is, even knowing Chelsea, and this is what I've always said, that sometimes we are so good, and it always comes to, it proves itself when we meet a bigger team. When we meet a smaller team, or we meet a mid team, or a team that's struggling, it's like it's always like it's like an interview to players. And that's why I think the management, this is what they should take. The management should stop signing players from mid-table teams, because I think us signing players from Brighton, signing players from West Ham, signing players from Bayer Leverkusen, signing players from, it just makes, when those teams meet us, they always play like they want to be signed by us. And that's why we find, like, whenever we meet these teams, they are always putting their all in the game. Like, they are putting their maximum. They are maxing their energy, their tenacity, their everything, just to be signed by us. And that's why sometimes it's very very difficult to play against these teams. But when we are playing, just, like, you're bringing your marks, we are bringing your marks, it's a big team, nobody's trying to audition. And that's with Liverpool, that's with Barcelona, that's with PSG, nobody's auditioning for Chelsea. So when we meet them the way they usually play. And that's why when we play the way we usually play, and they play the way you usually play, it's level field. We are always good. And this was one of the game. Now, the good thing that happened in that game is that, first, the goal scorers, Caicedo, with the stunner, like, currently is like the goal of the season. I haven't seen, is there any best, any game, any goal that best that one? I haven't seen just a goal that, you know, traveling at 99 kilometer per hour. That's just strike, a strike of the season. And then the next game, a last minute game, is just you know, giving, what do they say? Like when you return something that somebody usually gives you back. The way Liverpool has been winning, the 90th minute, 96th minute, 97th minute goal, us doing that to them. It's just like payback to what has been happening in the first 6 or 5 games in the seasons that they have won. It's just saying we are handling you whatever you have been handling all these other teams. And it was good because at some point we were chatting with some Liverpool players and they said like now it's demon time. When we reached 83, 85 minutes, they were saying like, oh, it's demon time. Like it's the time for them to score the goal. Us scoring that goal was payback time. It was just giving them the demon time that they thought they were giving every other team, thinking that we are we are not an ordinary team. I've always said that we are not an ordinary team. You are a good team, and our only problem is that sometimes we just choose the games that we want to win. Some games we don't really appreciate those games so much, and that's why we usually lose. That last goal, the Estevao goal, and I'm not just talking from him being the person that scores because that's very huge. I'm just talking from it coming from behind. Like it was just a slow, a very cautioned, a very controlled, build up to that goal. I think it was like passes, probably 10 or more passes, like just from behind when we got the ball, just passing through their mid to Cucurella, to the king of those passes, Enzo, to Cucurella again, then cross to, like it passed nearly 7 players to Estevao. And the build up is what we are known for. That's why last year we were called like the kings of counterattack, because that's what we used to do. And it hasn't been seen in the previous like 5-4 games, which was probably why we were not scoring as much as we should. And this is an indication that we are coming back, even without a very full squad. Like we have people who can play. And with that game, there are so much positives for Enzo. Cucurella was not on his game, but James was on his game. Positives for James, positive for Ganacho. There was positive for the defenders, especially Badiashile. Achapong literally lost some passes, put us in trouble for some minute. So I don't think he's at that position. I don't think. But Hato was good. Badiashile was good. Uh, who's this guy? He had some little problems, but he nearly played good. And then the biggest thing was that Lavia was back, and the way he played like he has never left. And I don't know how. I just think that this guy is one of the best players in the world because he just lost sin after injury. Every person, whenever they come in after an injury, it always like they have to build up that much fitness. Lavia usually comes in and is playing like he has been playing all through, like he's not having problem with pressure, he's not being pressured, he's not having problem with passes, he has pinpoint passes, he has everything in his game. And it's just, this is like the first game from injury. The other previous game was like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'm not sure. But I just think that if or when we have a full squad, I think after the international break some people will be back. But after October, November, we'll start having people like Delap. We'll start having people. Now, Joe Pedro will come back, and then we'll have Palma. And now everybody will just gel in, putting the best squad that we can there. I think we are going to be OP if we just get the best defense. That's what I've said. The weird thing, it's not even weird. It's just saying like saying Salah. Have a very a small hot what do they call it? Like some feeling. I wouldn't want him to score for us, but I've always liked Salah. But just seeing him just doing some things, and I'm like, you are done. I've always said it is done. People sometimes usually You know, they don't like to hear it. But I think his next place should be Saudi Arabia, Salah. Then Liverpool. Liverpool is going where it is. I said it again at the start of this season that their Premier League win was largely because it was Klopp's team, which they just bettered, which Anslot just came in and just told them like, do whatever you're doing. And now it's changing, and they're changing, and the transition, they will have a lot of problems. And I warned the Liverpool fans that they should not expect to be position one. They should not expect to be position two. They should not expect to be position three. Probably just four or five at the end of the season. And they didn't accept. But this thing, it usually comes slowly, but then you end up just accepting it eventually. Now, the first people in the league are now Arsenal, but they're just placeholders because eventually I know we are positioned probably 8-7. I'm just glad that we are above Man United, but we are coming for that position. Arsenal are just holding it for some minute, probably this weekend until the international break. After the international break, now the table will start reorganizing, and staying the way it should. Anyway, nice day. Unsubscribe because, as a Chelsea fan, this is the best. This is the best time to start hearing football news every day because it's a journey to the Premier League.